Hello, I am Brenda Jean Power Medicine Woman. I am from Medicine Woman Solution. There is always a solution as soon as you're aligned to it. There's always one there, always present, but can you be aligned to it? So it's been a great weekend here. Uh, since we're in El Nino, this temperature changes and you get to really fully experience different kinds of weather here. Um, United States, it was different types of weather for me. Here it was, can you tell the difference between the seasons here? And so far, yes, you have been able to tell the difference, especially this year. Being that said, there's pressures that affect people. The barometric pressures, the atmospheric pressures, and the pressures that are from the atmosphere and the earth. It is the pressure within this. Those can affect you. Those can put you in a mood. Those can put you in a different state of mind. It can also be a trigger to something that you have experienced somewhere along the path of your life. So, what does it mean? Um, like you could be all of a sudden you wake up happy and the wind blows, the ions change, the pressure you can feel. It's not just weather, it is energy and it's the way it's interacting. Okay. A lot of times, it's starting to cool down in Florida. And sometimes our reactions, our response to these particular, um, we just think it's weather. We don't think it plays a part in our world, but it does. It plays a part in our world. It plays a part in us. It plays a part what kind of mood we're going to be in. It can play a part in what kind of physical issues that you could be having. And you can get caught up in what's wrong with me? Do I need to see a doctor? What's wrong with me? And in some cases, it can push you. But the ions have a lot to do with it as well, because you need to have negative ions inside of you to remain healthy. And every part of us works with every part of ourselves, meaning you have the 5 elements in medicine, in Chinese medicine. You have the 5 elements that your body is made up of. It's the wood feeds the fire. The fire feeds. So it's on the support feeding aspect. If it was balanced, where it's like the mother takes care of the son. So wood feeds the fire feeds the earth feeds the metal feeds the water, and the water feeds um, the wood. And then if anything happens with those, where the feeding process, the mother is too dominant or too supportive, which is micromanaging, to doing it for you, uh, then what happens is that the person that's receiving it you both have issues because it's out of balance. But then it can be very domineering and it can be too much wood can be fed into the fire. Too much fire can start to destroy the earth. And too much earth issues can destroy the way the metal forms. And then the metal can disturb too much of the mineral content in your water, and too much water can rot the wood. So, and then if you, not enough, a lot of you will go, I don't have enough support. Well, sometimes when there's not enough wood, you can't keep the fire burning. And if not enough fire burning, you can't get the earth to be able to move and grow. And the earth, with not enough earth, can't create enough minerals. Not enough minerals can't really support the water, and the water can't really help the wood grow. So you have just this circle aspect that goes on with you. What if you put it in reverse? You start to put it in reverse, where you have the wood is very domineering and going the wrong way and fighting its emotions. Okay, the wood is fighting the water. It is a dam. Like a beaver builds a dam, and then the water is that too much water can start to actually wear down metal and shape it. And then you have too much of metal that can really just separate the earth, and too much earth can really put out the fire, and then too much fire can actually, again, destroy the wood in such a way that it can't even develop. So you got that. But then what about the controlling factors that is supposed to be normal, that's keeping you in check, which a lot of people we have not done, being held accountable. If we don't hold ourselves accountable, now some people drive themselves so far into one of the two extremes that I make myself so accountable, I make no one else be accountable. Well, that's too scary to make somebody else accountable, because what if they bite my head off? But the checks and balances are meant to be in place. And if too much information is fed, which is wrong, okay, so like, let's look at this. So when you go into how water keeps the fire in check, a certain amount of moisture, things like this, and then the fire will keep the metal, it helps shape the metal, and then you have the metal that will help shape the wood. So it's about shaping, and you need the contrast, you need to have the balance. And as you begin to notice that, but if there's something that's too over controlling, okay, so as the controlling aspects in this case don't go in a circle or backwards, they go in more of a star, okay? And everything can help shape you, but if you put it in reverse, it can actually cause you some, there's some good in doing certain things reverse. I'm not going to get into that detail. We can skip over that one and that one, go to the next one. Okay, so when you're looking at these energies, okay, this is what I'm looking at. This is what when you come to me and you ask for a reading, this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the stories. I'm looking at how you communicate. I look at how you do things. Where is it held in your pattern? And that's why I like to go back. Oh, it started here at this age, started off in this meridian and this. Now, let's break it down even further. What is a mood? Oh, God, she's in a mood. You don't look like you're in a good mood. Oh, God, just leave me alone. I have to be in the mood to do that. I'm in a mood. What does it mean? And a lot of times people live there. They live in a mood. They live. Okay. So in a mood, you can be in a good mood. You can be in a bad mood. Most of you know that you have to be in the mood to have sex, be in the mood to watch a movie. You have to be in the mood to watch the right movie. You need to be in a mood. So does mood control you? Does mood motivate you? Does mood, your mood make a difference to, how you feel? Do you set the tone at work? God, she was in a bad mood. Made everybody pissed off. She's in the mood. So that's like a broadcast message. That's being put out there. What are you really trying to say? Okay, so good mood, your broadcast message, you want to receive it a certain way. You're in alignment. But if you're in a good mood or trying to be in a good mood while you're in a pissy mood, you're going to have conflicting energies. Which one's going to be in charge? Or you shove it down and I'm going to overcome it and I'm going to beat these demons. I'm going to beat this. But are you? Are you? Okay, so now you're creating something that's unconscious and you don't want to be competent about it. So you're shoving it down, creating a conflict in this, creating the energies to go off here so you can live out here. But your inner world creates your outer world. So what is it you don't want to see? Well, I don't want to see that right now. I know they're doing that, but I'm just going to just overlook it. I'm just, these are different actions, moods, maneuvers, things that happen. How do you how do you have an interpersonal relationship? How do you do this? Do you even have one with yourself? So as you begin to do and break down, part of the academy that I'm getting ready to open is just to find you. And some of these questions will be asked. And when somebody says, well, Mujin, I'm in a bad mood, leave me alone. That's easy to answer. But if I asked you, what put you in the bad mood? They did. Who's they? Oh, they put, okay. What happened? What was the experience? And it's usually something you will see repetitively. Okay. You're in a good mood, you're sitting there, and you go to speak and tell somebody says, shh, because something's more important than you. And that's fine. But if it becomes a habit, you can learn them and walk on eggshells. You can learn them and learn how to work together so you can be in a flow factor. You can take turns. It's this relationship that needs to be developed, but we can't just begin there. It has to begin in here. So if all of a sudden you see something that's important, they see something that's important, and you speak and they tell you to shut up, but that's not what you heard. You swear to God you heard that. But what is the message really being said? Something is really more important than what you said, and I have to focus. You're only interfering. Shh, I can't hear. Now you made me. So if you're telling people to be quiet and you start carrying this as you get older, so we learn it in the imprint years. Children learn how to not interrupt all the time. Children learn to find when is it okay to speak, when can I, and this is where you learn a lot of your habits right here. So you're like, if you pick the wrong timing, and the thing is that whatever you experienced and you're carrying those, you're putting that energy and it sets the stage so that the person that you're receiving from, your soul sets up the stage so you can say certain things, and a certain person will always show up to say, here we go again. When that begins to happen, it can eventually turn you into a mood. So let's go back. What is a mood? A mood is this very particular thing. If we're just going to say bad mood, we're just going to say bad mood, okay? It's supposed to remain a temporary state of mind, or I should say, it's a temporary state of feeling, which puts you in a frame of mind. Like when Amy's ready, I want to ask her a question. So how do you get into that state, which is remain temporary? Temporary, yes, because if you can't get over it, you can't resolve it, and you can't cope with it, the mood becomes a coping tool. So I had like 50 things to do this morning, and I'm asking Spirit, I've always asked Spirit to help me to figure out what I need to do, how I need to do it, and all this. And because it's show day, Spirit will put me in a certain frame of mind, which is a mood, or have me go through certain experiences. And I was writing 3 particular deep stories, feeling something, noticing the things that are going on in the collective. The atmospheric pressure is there. And as I'm displaying with my face or my voice or whatever, my mannerisms, which are certain inflections with your voice or the way you move your hands, or, it's just, that's manners, certain manners that define you, because people will look. I have this wonderful sister that I love, or 2 people that just can't communicate, but I love, and you get us together and you can see our mannerisms that we have picked up from our parents. And so these mannerisms it can, I'm brown hair, she's blonde, I'm, a different shape, face, maybe just a little bit, I can't see it. but the voice, it's the gestures, it's the mannerisms. So, Amy, when you got on, my mind is somewhere else. And you said not in a good mood, or?
No, I said you don't seem like you.
Okay, well, you seem like you're in a mood. And I thought, okay, so Spirit has that energy. Now I can feel I'm in a mood, and I'm asking Spirit to break it down. What was the first thing that you, as the outsider, observed to answer that, to know that, to gather information and collect it into yourself?
It was, okay, Brenda's not in a talkative mood, so just keep her mouth shut.
Okay. And how do you know I was not in a talkative mood?
Just the way your face was when, I know you well enough that I know that when there's that, it's not a bitch face, but it's, I'm concentrating, I'm not going to be present right now.
So you can see my emotions on my face, on my gestures. Okay. Just take a look at that, people. Look how intuitive you really are. Okay. Now, this is a different type of feeling than it's been in the past. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like,
what?
It wasn't, yeah.
It wasn't what's the vibe? What was the vibe?
It was like, just stay back.
Ah, so you heard the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, why am I asking Amy to do this? Now, I've never asked her really to look at the steps. But if you want to grow and wake up from manipulating behaviors that you have within yourself, you have to begin to notice what puts you in that state, which most of you already know. But when you are working with somebody and they're in a mood, oh, she's in one of her moods. You know, how do you respond to it? How do you label it? Do we walk on eggshells? If a person is in their mood, it's going to end up destroying the relationship eventually. But what happens if you can't shake the mood? Okay, now that's what could happen. You can destroy yourself, your life, and spiral further out. Let's break this down. It's supposed to be a temporary state. When you're hurt, when you bump up against a limitation, when you know, they put me in a bad mood, that usually will tell you that it's 0 through 7 is that the younger self has said to the outside, you did it. Okay, maybe they're in a mood. When you decide to put up your walls, which are called defenses, then you go into conflict resolution. You want to avoid. You want to maybe just attack. And again, it's like the elements. Do you want to lend support? Do you want to give too much support? Do you want to try to solve their issue? You want one of the things that happens is you want that person, because you may be in a state of love with this person, and what you want is you want that person back. Now, there's a whole bunch of other stories that can go with this, but what happens? So you're in a mood, or you're not, before you get in the mood, everything's fine. And then all of a sudden the outside will trigger you. And as you as a child, from 0 to 7, you're learning how to cope with emotions. You're meant to learn how to pacify them, not by something on the outside, like give me a pacifier, give me my thumb, give me some candy or food. You're not going to be able to process that becomes replacing one thing with another. So you don't change the energies. You're changing the outside to help soothe the inside. We have comfort food, we have comfort people, we have things like this. What happens? So the outside, in the frame of mind of a child, it's the outside's fault. You have to eventually heal it so you can learn how to understand that in your inner world creates your outer world. It's not, oh, you caused it. No, I don't like. I want you to become mature enough not to give those responses. I want you to learn how to talk and communicate with yourself that inside, somewhere inside of me, I've accepted this. And now I believe it. And I'm giving it my willpower. So it's like when we're doing a timeline healing and you're looking at all the memories, you're looking and you're like, nope, 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 this one. And you drop into it and you're fully immersed like you are in water, or you have to go outside and you're fully exposed. Can you protect yourself without drowning? Can you protect yourself without feeling like you're going to get mud slung on you? How do you be in that moment? Okay. And so there's a lot of detail they could go here, but we're just going to skip ahead. So here you are, years later. The same fractal story is happening. You're being invalidated. Something's more important in you. If you're blaming the outside, you need to understand that there's a part of you that has to grow, because the soul and your consciousness self set it up. You are going into each of these perspectives to gather and collect the learnings, positive and negative. You're going to preserve all the necessary learnings. And when you do, you start to make something that's unconscious conscious. And then because if it's conscious, it just determines your fate and fate. And when you start to make it conscious and you start to use your higher self versus your ego, then you're not going to get fake news. Ego gives you fake news. And as you start to get stuff from your higher self, you start to find, oh, with this collected learnings, there's things I need to unlearn. There's things I need to let go. But what happens is that when you transform the negative emotions off, you start to gather wisdom. And that wisdom gets stored, so it gives you the strength. So when you have to meet up with a new situation, you're going to notice that you've tracted it life better. And so you can feel the growth. What does it mean to be in the mood? And let's say if we decide we're going to be in a bad mood. So if you have a repetitive story of going, oh, here we go again, they are in charge. They get to control the situation, whatever your story is, because you can ramble on that and come up with some juicies. But you feel it, you know it. So the defense energy that's in you, there's several different ways. Like you can become beside yourself. And it puts you in a mood. And then you go into silent brooding. And it's very obvious that you're brooding. And so people will feel like you're in a mood. If it's longer than basically 2 or 3 minutes, then it can start to develop into a particular attitude that you have about you. A state of frame of mind, which is not heaven, it is definitely hell. If you have anxiety as part of your defense, and you're going to create tentacles to go out and try to fix it and trying to get approval and trying to notice that they're happy, and you try to solve it. But is that really living? No. That's a reactionary. You are so over-identified with matter, you're just living in the emotions and living in the side roads of hell that you have to constantly figure out how to do. Okay? Mood. This is where a lot of you get stuck in your high beta. You run to the end of your timeline. You run with scissors. You start to sabotage yourself. You betray yourself. You become a martyr, you become deprived. This is one aspect. Or you can be on the other where you're projecting out, you have great anxiety, you want everything to be okay, you have to control it. Shut up. If you say one more thing, that's not going to work. You know, you're going to live inward or you're going to live outward. You're going to create a particular thing. So when I'm teaching, I'm going to get ready to teach the academy, these are the things that I need you to start to look at. But how do we help those that are in PTSD, that have borderline personality disorder, that have, and the thing is if you're in high beta and you're creating your state of mind to stay there. Now, mood will cause you to just, it's an interesting mood. Now, most people know what depression mood is. How about anger mood, silent brooding mood? And you're just like, fucking don't talk to me. You know, you're creating this one frequency. And as you do, you don't know how to change it. Now, that's the thing. You are in a frequency. So right now, the barometric pressure is affecting a lot of people. No matter where you live, the earth is changing itself. How can you change your moods? How can you resolve to evolve? Now, the earth can only do so much. And we as humans have to do the collective process and to grow and to heal. So we've I can't remember her name, Lori, I think, is it Lori? Lori Ladd. Anyway, there's a lot of people on this earth that are already doing similar things that I'm doing. We each have a particular way of holding the frequency and so that the vibration and the frequency starts to change the codes so that we can get more into the 5D world. And a lot of you are going through a lot of timeline, switching over. Where do I need to go? Stay in the past, go into the future, or, string theory. There's you have all these saying, which door are we going to line up to? This is where you really need to dive in. But what it's boiling down to is that she said, and it's firmly believed in me too. We made it. We made it. We have crossed a certain threshold. We have went from all this transitional state to coming to the ends of the transitional state. And so that we can now take and start taking and doing the integrating process. But the integration process is that we have to let go of some shit. So sometimes we'll be going down our road, we have to stop over here, clean it up, and then come back. Okay, you don't have to be stuck there forever. That's not part of the equation anymore. If you're there for a certain amount of time, you begin to wake up and you'll start to come back faster. So the turnaround time, and you will go in this direction. We've already made it. Like she says, if you hit a home run, and you still have to run the bases, and you still, you hit that ball, you finished it. Yes, we've made it. So as collective, we've made it. And those that are really serious about staying here, you still have to run to first base, take care of that. Then you get to run to second, take care of that, run to third, and then run back home. So you still have to do certain structure in order to get where you're going. So how do you shake a mood? Well, how do you create yourself to be in a situation? First, you got to see it, and then you got to take and listen to the content of it. So you can get that, when somebody tells me that it's the situation was so big, and I say, put in the content I can understand. And the context would be, okay, this person was this high. Well, okay, imagine 2-story house. Oh, that is a tall person. Okay. But you have to have it in a certain context, in a certain content, so that you can say, I get it. It makes sense. Certain information will come in. So we'll get to the 1 minute in just a moment. This is that first part where everybody, where you get to experience a chance to grow. This isn't just about you will get your free information. Just stay there. You have to at least stay on board. And remember, every time you hit the love button and you share publicly, your name goes into a chance to win a 30-minute free drawing at the beginning of the month. So whoever wins, it's not on the air. If you pay, and you come in the room for 8 minutes, and your name goes into a drawing for a 15-minute session with me here live. And then there's all these other, another one drawing is if you bring a friend and you let Amy know, and that person that says, yes, this person brought me, and we recognize that you're not on the list.
Also, that person has to state in the feed that you brought them, or they brought you.
Yes, stated in the feed. And then your name goes in, that person that brought you, their name gets in here. Okay, and you get to win 8 minutes with me on the air. Now, there's more to tell about a mood, but you can shake the mood, and that's where people don't know how to do it. And sometimes you don't want to get out of the fucking mood. You're like, leave me alone. Or I can't process this mood. I don't know what to do with this mood. Okay. And there's a lot of choosing of how you want to move forward. And this is where it feels like there's a lot of dark energy when all of a sudden you can't shake the thought. You can't shake this. You can't do this. And you feel like you're not yourself. When something happens, oh my God, it is that moment as you begin to develop yourself. If you are looking out and blaming, that means you don't have enough information and your level of consciousness is not developing the way that you want, because you're going to stay stuck there and everybody is the enemy. You've learned to come up with different ways to survive with your safety, security, and stability, and trying to find joy, maybe intermittent. There's all these different scenarios. Getting back to when you're in a particular mood and you're thinking, you're so stuck in that mood. That means your body's consciousness is addicted to the chemical peptides. They need a shot of feeling bullied, and you're addicted to somebody bullying you, and you don't even know it. Even though outside you're like, I hate people that do that to me. But your body is saying, I need that bullying energy, which is like a drug. And so if you don't bully yourself, then you're going to create the energy outside of you to magnetically, emotions are magnetic. And as that happens, these energy cords, these energy things go out and then draws things to you so that you can feel that addiction. Sometimes we are a little bit more when we hear the words and the story that goes with it. So sometimes your mood can become addiction. It can turn into an attitude and a temperament. But you have the right to stop that. You have the right to stop that. Okay, just so you know. Now, I'm going to stop there because there's different avenues. I just want you to be understanding that what I'm doing here is helping you have tools to better your mental health, to take you into a space where you haven't gone before that can give you relief from your insanity. Yes, you heard me. When you can't make something stop, you will feel insane. When you can't go to the next part of yourself, you will feel insane. You can't stop. Again, all these tools you need to become awake, aware, and take action. And if you take action once, you're asking yourself to stay clean. You're going in, you took a shower, okay? Then you go out and roll in the mud and you're like, well, the healing tool didn't work. That shower didn't work. You have to take a little bit more responsibility than that. It is very huge to begin to understand. So this first person that is paid, Ellen. So you have to come, and so there's Ellen. After Ellen is Amanda, and after Amanda is Kevin. So have these people talk to you? Yes or no?
Nope.
Okay, so in order for, if you want to, you have paid, I'm assuming that you want to come to me to communicate with you for 8 minutes. Come in or do it this way. Okay, however you choose to do it, contact Amy, because the password thing that they do on Zoom now is that we can only have, so did you get the link, Amy, or do I have to give it to you?
You have to give it to me. I just have
okay. So what will happen is that we will take and get that next part taken care of.
So those people send me a PM so that so I don't have to go searching for you.
Yeah, so you're going to take the action of looking for Amy. Amy is in the room, and you just then PM her with Messenger. Okay. And so then there, we can go from there. We'll go next. So just remember, Ellen, you're first, and she has a doozy of a thing to look at. So if you've had strange things happen in your home that you can't explain, it's important that you listen, because it's not always what it seems. And this is where you need more info. And when you get in a fight with somebody, any of this, anything in life, it's because you lacking a piece of information. And usually the information you seek off the internet or the limited knowledge that you know could actually spur you more into fear. It's time to get out of those paradigms and into the next state. Okay. And then you got to decide, once you come in, if you're going to be on the Zoom, whether you're going to remain small or you want me to make you big. That means other people can see you. It's you're going to pay that, come in here and get everything you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we will go.
It's amazing what Brenda can do in 8 minutes.
If you, in 8 minutes, if you can just let me rattle, you stay guided, you measure and observe. And what happens is that you can get a lot done in 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm aware of Ellen's story. I have to wait until Ellen comes in and we communicate. So what she is willing to let the information to be out in the world. But I won't do this, but Spirit said, this is important. So I gave myself an extra half hour of my time to work on this. So that part is free, which you didn't get to see that I did, but it has, I had to put myself in a certain mood to find it. Hence, Amy felt something and was like, wait, that's not Brenda. Well, it is Brenda, but it is something else. So we will go from there. You decide how you want to do this. And then once you have your link, make sure you have your Zoom app. While we're waiting, give me 1 minute.